usually a lot of bad contracts are handed out in free agency. So I thought it'd be fitting to go over the 10 worst contracts in NBA history.
Okay, bring him on.
Number 10, Luol Deng with the Los Angeles Lakers, contract 4 years, $72 million.
Luol Deng did nothing for this Lakers team. This is part of the reason why they weren't able to get one of these big stars to attract with Kobe Bryant in the last few years of his career. When we talk about the end of Kobe's Lakers career, we talk about Luol Deng and Timothy Mozgov, who I'm sure will be on this list eventually, because of these terrible contracts. Just Lakers being Lakers, the reason why they can't get anybody.
Yeah, and Luol Deng was also one of those players like, was he good? Or was he in a system where everyone just played a lot and Derrick Rose made everyone look like a star? Because that was the team with, I think, that old Rick Hamilton, Luol Deng, Kyle Korver, who's crying in his car because he didn't want to come into practice because of Tom Thibodeau, Taj Gibson, and Joakim Noah.
Yeah. They were fun.
They were fun.
They were fun to watch.
But yeah, Lakers kind of got handicapped because of that. The Lakers had to pay Deng up until 2022.
What?
Yeah.
What, do they defer the contract?
Yeah, they had to defer it until 2022 for Luol Deng, who signed
in what, 2012, 13,
2016.
2016.
Yeah, they signed him in the 2016 offseason.
Wait, they signed him in 2016. For those who might not have pieced it together until now, Luol Deng, what we remember of Luol Deng is the Derrick Rose era Luol Deng, who played in 2000. He was drafted in 2008, and that Bulls era was over by 2013.
Yeah.
So 3 years removed from that, the Lakers are like, Luol Deng. Give him all the money. Bring the Brinks truck for this man.
Bring him and Timothy Mozgov. But yeah, classic Lakers L, handing out money to someone who had no business being paid that much money. But, you know, congrats to him for getting that money.
Yeah.
And then at number 9, we have Jonathan Isaac with the Orlando Magic. Contract was 4 years, $70 million. And across 136 games in 3 seasons, he averaged 9.3 points and 5.4 rebounds.
Yikes.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, they drafted him. Am I wrong?
Yeah, they drafted him 6th overall in 2017.
Okay. So they signed him as like he's a part of our system, maybe. I'm trying to think their rationale. Overall, I mean, where in the world is Jonathan Isaac these days? We don't know. Terrible contract, obviously. 9 points a game. Really? For $72 million?
Yeah, and I'm not here to hate on Jonathan Isaac because the next one is more hilarious than that, because at number 8, we have Chandler Parsons with the Memphis Grizzlies at 4 years, $94 million. And get this, he averaged 14 points a game in 2 seasons with the Dallas Mavericks. Despite the red flags, the Grizzlies went all out by giving Parsons a max contract. And Parsons appeared in just 95 games. Whoa. And when he was ready to play, Parsons could only muster up 7.2 points per outing.
Yikes.
Over 4 years, 95 games.
Yikes. So 104. What did you say it was? 140?
So 4 years, $94 million, which was the max at that time. And over a 4-year contract, he played 95 games, given there's 82 games in a season, right?
So this man got paid $1 million a game. Get to that level of wealth. Even LeBron doesn't make $1 million a game, if you think about it.
Yeah.
This man was on pace to make $82 million a season had he had played all 4 games, apparently.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he averaged 7.2 points. And honestly, like, Chandler Parsons was good, but like, he was very streaky.
I remember the Mavericks signed Chandler Parsons because they didn't get Dwight Howard. That was the reason why he signed with the Mavericks, if you remember correctly. And then the Grizzlies, just kind of reminding me almost of like what the Hornets did with Gordon Hayward, where it doesn't really seem like there's a massive market for Gordon Hayward anymore. He gets a max contract. Same goes with Chandler Parsons. Chandler Parsons by then really wasn't that noteworthy.
Yeah, at least Gordon Hayward was like, I don't know, led a team to the playoffs as the best player on the team and averaged over 20 points and was an all-star in the West.
Yeah, he was still good with the Celtics too, so we can give him some slack there.
Yeah, he was like okay with the Celtics, and the Hornets had to pay him just to pay somebody, but God. Chandler Parsons, absolute whiff with the Grizzlies. I fully support it, and honestly, I think he should be higher because next is Derrick Rose, 5 years, 94 million, and I don't even want to get into it because tragedy struck, and Derrick Rose is probably one of the saddest stories in the NBA with how much potential he had. So,
This with the Bulls?
yeah,
That doesn't count.
yeah,
That
it
shouldn't
doesn't
be,
count.
that shouldn't be on that list.
He got hurt, but like Derrick Rose deserved it just by, I don't know, making Chicago relevant after Michael Jordan. What have the Bulls been since then? You had the Jimmy Butler era where the best team that you had with Jimmy Butler was Rondo and Dwayne Wade. What a weird trio.
Super weird trio, especially when you say it's in Chicago. That contract is not one of the worst of all time. That's just a tragedy.
Yeah, because at least after him, we have Allen Houston with the Knicks, whose contract was 6 years, over $100 million. And although he lived up to the bill in the first 3 seasons, he had a knee injury and he only produced 11 points per game in the 04-05 season. So he was basically good the first 3 years, and then the last 3 years was a no-show.
That sucks.
And then after that, friend of the show, shot in the foot, Gilbert Arenas, Washington Wizards, 6 years, $111 million. For what?
So was this before or after he shot himself in the foot? Quite literally.
Yeah, it says after the deal was signed, injury woes and a bevy of scandals haunted Arenas and the Wizards. Yeah, like shooting yourself in the foot or bringing guns in the locker room and, I don't know, breaking the law.
Just a couple things, but he had 111 reasons to not do that. But I would say that's a pretty bad contract. We've went over the Washington Wizards lore, and Gilbert Arenas has a very weird wrinkle in that.
Yeah, because after that, like, honestly, I'd put him number 4 because they have Chris Bosh with the Miami Heat. 5 years, $118 million, but like blood clots, not shooting himself in the foot.
2 titles.
2 titles. He deserved the, like, oh, you helped us win a title. We'll give you this money. And it was health issues he couldn't control. Given Gilbert Arenas had injuries, but he didn't seem like the most focused player ever.
Yeah, no, Chris Bosh and Derrick Rose, get them off this list.
Get them off the list, but at least at number 3, Gordon Hayward, 4 years, $120 million. Say his name again.
Gordon Hayward.
What were the Nets doing? Like, he was probably, when he left the Celtics, the 6th best player on that team.
That was one of those players, like, is he going to sign for a league minimum? Is he going to get 15, 20 million? And then the Hornets came out of nowhere and outbid themselves to a max contract. I mean, bravo. This was a masterclass by Gordon Hayward, the fact that he got another max contract. But nobody else was going to offer him that, not even close.
Yeah, and people talk about Paul George not being the same since his gruesome knee injury. Gordon Hayward, like,
he's a role player.
He turned into a role player after that injury. But yeah, Gordon Hayward, absolutely ridiculous. But you expect that from the Hornets because they had to give someone money because they're not paying anybody. And out number 2, a dumber franchise, some would say, than the Charlotte Hornets, even though they're more relevant. Philadelphia, Ben Simmons.
Yep.
Who is now a 66 overall on 2K, and Shaquille O'Neal says it should be lower than that. I say give him a 43 or, a 36 overall on 2K. The guy doesn't play, and he scammed the 76ers out of 5 years, $177 million. Say it again. 5 years, $177 million for Ben Simmons.
Wow. And what has he done since? Well, let's see. He had depression 1 year. That's why he couldn't play. And then he had back pains. And then, I don't know, his fucking panties were in a knot the next. He's played, 50 games in this contract? You want to talk about the Chandler Parsons contract where he's making $1 million a game. This motherfucker is on pace to make 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe $10 million per game played.
Yeah. Yeah, the funniest thing is it says, the Philadelphia 76ers envision Ben Simmons as the next face of their franchise, with Simmons showing glimpses earlier. Highlight the word glimpses. They rewarded him with a fat contract worthy franchise player max contract. In return, the Sixers received playoff collapses, injuries, and a dramatic strike. Simmons sat out an entire season and demanded to be traded to another team.
Pathetic.
Absolutely pathetic. One of the worst, probably should be the number one contract on this list, because at number one, we have John Wall with $171 million less than Ben Simmons. And John Wall actually played a little bit with the Wizards and the Rockets.
This is also another thing similar to Derrick Rose, where a lot of injuries too in there. Like John Wall, I don't think is the worst contract in NBA history. He's your star player. He was hurt. Like, injuries should not play a part in it being a bad contract.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if you want to put I feel like Gordon Hayward would be higher on my list. I feel like Gilbert Arenas going to jail potentially. Like, those Luol Deng.
Yeah.
Like, these are all contracts where nobody else was going to give them that money at all, and they somehow got it.
Chandler Parsons,
making $1 million a game.
Also, Timothy Mozgov isn't on this list.
And these contracts were the same year.
Yeah.
They got the same year. They got Timothy Mozgov and Luol Deng, and everyone's like, wow, that's great. 2012 called.
Yeah. Yeah, Timothy Mozgov was only good because he was one of the only players on that Cavs team, and LeBron, I don't know what LeBron had on him, but he made Mozgov play his best basketball because he didn't play that well in LA.